of the world's largest Polynesian populace, a fitting stage for a genuine Super Rugby Pacific derby.
The total stretches for the line, and he scores. Puts the chip kick in for the corner. Barrett's got it. Barrett scores.
Nothing quite like a Queensland Reds in ACC Brumbies Battle Royale. How strong is Bobby V?
Mariki, outside on the right wing and on debut.
Down the right, infield, to the right, infield is Wilson. Wilson, this is what the game's for. We have ever seen. Tars win. Oh, the skill involved in that. And drama at Sky Stadium in Wellington. The Crusaders have got the victory.
Tēnā koutou katoa, good evening. Welcome into the breakdown. Drama from Wellington were the words from Grant Nisbet. But what about the drama in Sydney? Tell me, you three, did anyone pick the Waratahs to beat the Chiefs at home? Jeff Wilson, Mills Muliaina and Stephen Donald. Honesty is the best policy around here. This is the comp that keeps delivering.
It certainly is, and certainly did not pick the Sydney result, but it's great for the competition, isn't it? The Chiefs just letting everyone have a chance. It's brilliant.
I had a look on the bright side of life when there wasn't for the Chiefs on the weekend, but it's all good. Everything's going great. The Highlanders are back. We're edging our way close up the table, and we've got our good friends, the Chiefs, this weekend. Bring it on.
And the Blues are back as well.
The Blues been back.
Are they your Blues now?
Oh, kind of. It just depends. I mean, this week they are because the Chiefs lost.
Ah, yeah. We're back to that one. Brilliant.
Okay, well, let's get into the program then. Here is what's coming up over the next hour.
We have two of the champion Blues women in studio with the Aupiki trophy. Jeff wonders if more could be done to keep our top players in New Zealand. Who should start on the wing for the All Blacks? And we celebrate coast-to-coast tries.
Yeah, it is going to be a heck of a show. Cannot wait to get those women in and celebrate their back-to-back titles in Super Rugby Aupiki. But first, pick and go, Millsy. What's getting you worked up from the weekend?
I'm actually quite interested in the way the tactics of some of the coaches, particularly it's sort of 9 weeks, well and truly halfway through the season, but sort of selections around coming off the bench. You've seen, Moana, they didn't pick Patrick Pellegrini to sort of start, and he's been in sensational form, whether it's because it's game minutes or whatever. Damien McKenzie's been moved around a little bit, playing at 10, playing at fullback, and this one here, the last couple of weeks, Cam Roigard has been taken off when the game is really in the balance. That's really surprised me. I mean, I look at it and I think, well, he's not unfit because he's got one of the best sort of Broncos, so he's got a big engine, and surely that you think you'd keep your All Black and your big-time players out there. So are the coaches going out of their way and thinking outside the box in terms of the way they use their bench and their players and their minutes?
So with that in regard to that, if you look at the season and the way the games have been played, you get the sense more fatigues come into the game. Whether or not the numbers are in behind that, and we don't get the benefit of having those numbers in terms of how much ball in play we get those, but in terms of the individual meters guys are running, I'm wondering whether the science in behind it is suggesting that they do need to rotate players in and out. But when you're on a roll and things are going well and you desperately need players out on that park to play, and Patrick Pellegrini is the one for me this last weekend, he was the difference maker for Moana, turning their season around. To then take him out of the pivotal role at 10 in probably their biggest game of the season against a crosstown rival, I think that's a mistake, Beaver, for me, because he was so influential. Give him a rest next week, because this, in terms of momentum in their season, could have been massive if they found a way to win.
And I get what you're saying around the minutes and the fatigue, but that's for the big men, I think. When we're talking about 9s and 10s here who have huge impact on the actual results. So, yeah, Pellegrini was an obvious one this week. Roigard, when those games have been in the balance, those are boys you want out there, I would have thought, at the time. And obviously, the Chiefs have had, 2 losses this year? And McKenzie's either been not there or at 15.
But let's go back on the Chiefs, though. They have looked at rotating, and it has worked for them. They've had on the bench a number of All Blacks who you thought could be starting.
Up front.
Cortez Ratama's one who's gone off and on with Xavier Rowe, Rowe's been playing really, really well. And they were the team that were on top of the table this weekend, up until this weekend. So I sort of look at it and go, it'll be hard to make a judgment now, but in terms of these games, Mills, like you say, you've looked at it and gone, could they have gone a different way, particularly for the teams, I think, that are in the fight?
Yeah, I think Roigard, that really surprised me that you sort of taking him off against the Blues, when, could have gone either way. in the weekend, once again, they started getting on a roll against the Crusaders, and you're taking the incumbent halfback, All Black halfback, off in a crucial time. So I just wonder what sort of thinking around there on the coaches.
And you could counter with the Highlanders made 9 changes. They rotated most of their guys out, guys coming back from injury. They had a few injuries and they travelled across to the Force, and it worked for them. It was in the balance with 10 minutes after half-time, but ultimately it got them across the line down in Dunedin. But you're right, managing the players through the season, given the nature of the contest and the ball and play and the speed of the game, it could have a bigger impact than we think.
OK, Beef, what about you? What's your pick and go?
Well, it's a little bit to do with ball and play and speed as well, but we've had such a great competition this year, and for me, it's been a lot around the refereeing and how they've done it, but for me, there's one thing that creates opportunity, and that is not allowing halfbacks to bring blockers, to get their feet exactly where they want, to get the referee giving them as much time as they want, to get box kicks up. Because I think we saw too often last year, box kick to box kick. Oh no, you want a box kick back to us? Well, we'll set up and box kick back to you. I can think of a few horrible test match phases where it just went on and on. And this is what we're going to get. Goldie, when the pressure comes on, you were talking about a clouded or a clogged up ladder, teams aren't going to want to lose. So what do you do when you don't want to lose? You go safe. And what are you going to do? You're going to start box kicking and chasing and say, you make a mistake. And we just can't afford to fall into this. So this is where the referee's got to go, 5 seconds, kick it.
Are you not entertained?
I am at the moment. We're in a dangerous territory here, I reckon.
I think there was a little bit of a drop-off this weekend in terms of accuracy across a lot of the teams. Hurricanes had a difficult night. The Chiefs clearly had a difficult night. The Reds didn't have a great game at home in terms of their accuracy and handling. I know it was a little bit wet there and it can get humid. So I understand that we're getting into those winter months. I know there's a determination, though, Mills, from the referees, Kirsty, that they want to keep these games moving. They've got to keep talking for me. I think earlier on in the competition, it was like every ruck. Use it, use it, use it, use it. Now it's OK, you're setting up for a box kick. That's when I'm going to remind you to use it, you know. So I think as good as they have been up until now, we've got to run the course here. Stay the course. As teams start to get fatigued and tired, you just got to play through it. And I know they're really trying. Maybe just being vocal again and encouraging these teams, remind them that this is the intention. You have to do it.
Well, on Friday night, Crusaders Blues, they don't take one free kick and then everyone else go, oh, OK, we can't be doing this. And then bang, everyone's made aware of it again.
So that's an interesting part about the free kick as well. We're seeing more and more free kicks, and then there's a lot of, what do we do now? Like, we're not having another scrum. What are we going to do from here on this part of the field? So it's adding another decision-making process into it, and it's almost like, just take a quick tap and get on with it. Now it's, no, we'll just put up another up and under. So we might as well just another box kick. And set up a maul, everyone come in and set up a maul so I can do a box kick.
And that's what we don't want. That's what you're saying, right? We don't want to get into a kicking contest where it was just, let's set up for another box kick, let's set up for this. We want, we actually want pressure on those guys to force a mistake, to then make opportunities, which is what we want.
Jeff, for you, what's been keeping you up at night?
Bit of deep dive here, and a deep dive because it was a rumour that came out during the week. And, you know, we all understand that the game has changed. We get that, and the motivations for players and what motivates individuals in terms of their game is important to each person, right? So when I hear the news that it looks as though Mark Talia is going to head offshore and he's not going to be available to the All Blacks at the next Rugby World Cup, this is the 2023 Breakthrough Player of the Year for an international rugby. And I'm not sure, and I don't know if we can do more to keep our players in New Zealand, but this really concerns me because this guy is a superstar, not just in our game for the international, for the All Blacks, but for the Blues as well, and at home, and one of our great superstars. We don't have many players who could do that type of thing. There are players who do other great plays, but I'm concerned right now. Mark Talia, I think, is a huge loss if he's heading offshore. I understand that's where things are heading. Here's a guy who changed the position because he's a bit different to what we've had before. Yeah. The strength, the footwork in small spaces through the middle of the park. Yes, we've had guys who have done similar things, but I'm concerned. When you see someone like him heading offshore, does it worry you guys? Because he's in his prime. I think, you know, he's a late bloomer. He's a late bloomer, though. He's a late bloomer. That's why I say he's in his prime. The number 28, you know, the 28-year-old thing that just became convenient. Yep. He's still in his prime. I think he had 2, 3, 4 good years in him. Now it looks like we're going to lose that, and I'm concerned about that because there are guys in similar situations. Shannon Frizzell, Richie Mwanga. I know Lester Whanganuku is coming home, but he went away. He decided he wanted to play overseas. We've had Damien McKenzie go away for a couple of years. Obviously, we've got players who could still play for the All Blacks. Aaron Smith, Brodie Retallick, Sam Cane. He was good enough last year, probably good enough now. So from my perspective, I'm concerned. I'm not sure how much more we can do though, Mills.
Well, and that's the thing. I think the backup from signing quite a substantial amount for Damian McKenzie to sort of stay, and also Rieko Ioane to secure him. Now you've got a guy in his prime, as you mentioned, sort of leaving. The worrying part for me is this is an All Black side that's relatively new, and the drive of the black jersey obviously must not be a thing for these guys when you're putting in financial situations. And also, what are the New Zealand Rugby Union doing about that financial side? We've lost a sponsor that's taken a big hit. Are we getting creative? And because this has always been there. This subject's always been there about we can't compete from a financial point of view with overseas pundits.
Is it a case of every situation? And I know it's a boring answer, but isn't every situation different? Like, I mean, we're talking about Mark's situation here, and I don't know his personal situation, but he might be being offered a silly deal, as in a great deal. He's heard the 28 chat that everyone talks about All Black wings and goes, you know what, I've got a 3-year deal that could absolutely lock me up. And then last week we talked about a McKenzie. We've got Bowden Barrett. We've got Ardie Savea saying, no, the All Black jersey, whatever it means to me, is enough for me to sign long term. Is it different for every situation?
But they've got sabbaticals. Ardie Savea has got a sabbatical option. Rieko Ioane's got a sabbatical option. I'm not sure whether they're activating those next year. They may be doing that. That's afforded to some players. But, you know, you think about your legacy and wanting to compete against the best and to go on and win a Rugby World Cup. When we lose someone who's gone through what Mark Talia's gone through, he's been through the experience, the disappointment. We don't have the benefit of that now of getting to the next one, which we saw in 2007 through to 11. And I can't remember us ever losing anyone between 11 and 15, you know, in terms of transitioning or not having someone ready to go, an obvious replacement. And so I'm concerned now where I'm seeing guys, you know, you think about the impact they could have in 2 years.
Yep.
They're not available to us. And I know it's a challenge. I get all of that. And maybe that's why some decisions are being made upstairs.
But if you look at wingers, there are always fresh new wingers that come up. Rieko Ioane was one, Caleb Clark. We always seem to produce the young, the fast wingers. Do you select Mark Talia in the All Blacks this season if he is indeed going offshore? And who are your starting All Blacks wingers? The floor is open, Steve.
Well, I'll take it. These two, they're scared to get in there because who knows where it's going to end up. But if, let's say he's gone.
Are you picking him?
I can't. If he's gone, I'm not picking him. So I'm going to go Sevu Reece, who continually performs. And as you talked about, there's always someone young and fresh coming through.
Always.
I'm going to go Caleb Tungatol.
Let's see if the numbers stack up then. Let's see if the numbers stack up. Let's
hang on, Goldie.
Stats here. Come on. Let's put some stats up then. Let's have a look at those, because if we do that, then we got an idea of the names we're talking about. And we'll talk our way through this, Mills, because I look at this, and for Mark Talia, I'm not sure that I would continue to select him if he's not going to be available. So all of a sudden there are players in terms of career stats and the people that they beat, and Mark Talia is second on that list. Funnily enough, I'm picking Timothy Tavatavanaui, because when I see those sort of numbers and the impact that he's having, and then the other one is Sevu Reece, who you mentioned, because at the moment, his try-scoring ratio, this is Super Rugby we're talking about here, it's impressive. 53 and 66. Mills, he knows how to score tries, all right? And I'm comfortable with those two guys being in the jersey. The trouble is, they're looking for versatility as well now. Guys who can play multiple positions. And so when you have a Will Jordan and you have, who else can play? Rieko Ioane, all of a sudden you're probably only going to pick another two, Mills. That makes it really different.
I'd even throw Ruben Love in there as a winger as well.
Wild card.
You know, I think they will with their versatility. I'd pick Mark Talia. Even if he goes, I would pick him.
30 tests to the next World Cup.
I would pick him. I would take him. Mark Talia stays in my team because we need our best players.
We need to win. You're saying we need to win then? Yeah, we need to win. We need to win right now.
The All Blacks need to win. Okay. Last year, we got ourselves okay, right? But we need to be getting back to being dominant, and we pick our best players until he leaves. We've got guys coming through. The other winger I'd pick, I'd agree with you, Tavatavanaui. I think he deserves an opportunity at this stage. The way he's going about his business, and I like his work rate. That's been the most biggest thing that stood out for me, but also his ability on defence, getting over the ball, and that's not when guys are isolated. It's also when he's getting into the hard stuff. His body position is exceptional. But he's got speed, he's got power, and he's played in the midfield, versatility. I wouldn't necessarily play him in the midfield for the All Blacks, but I think as a winger, he'd be outstanding.
Well, obviously, most people this year, the casual observers have seen Tavatavanawa this year as a 12, doing incredible things. You guys absolutely comfortable? Is he quick?
I think it's quick enough. If you watch him when he's playing the game, when he has to shift and move. Look, he's not express. There's no doubt about it. And the interesting part about this is for a long time we've talked about we need the one power winger and we need the one, you know, I don't think that applies. You look around the world, it's about the guys who are creative, who are the best wingers, who can score tries, who can beat people. They're the best players. Not we'll use one guy to crash it up and then we'll use the other guy with his speed. No, that's not how it should work for me now. It's picking the best guys who are the best finishers, who are also very good in the air. Have to be good in the air. And I think Tavatavanawa is committed to that and are very good defensively in terms of reading the role that they have. So for me, I have no issues with either of those guys. There's guys who like Caleb Clark, who had a breakout year, but he's last year. He got back to his very, very best. We need to see the best of him again, though, right? We just need to see it because it's highly contestable. But he's a guy last year who owned the air, didn't he, Beaver? He owned the air, and that became his biggest strength. We just haven't possibly seen enough of that this year for the Blues, who have struggled to control games. You know, they haven't had those opportunities to do the things through the middle of the park that he was so very, very good at last year as well. So he'll know this, Caleb, and he'll be looking to once again build on what was a great year because he was scoring tries last year.
And Moni Narawa not playing well enough for any of you three to be mentioned?
It's just been probably a pretty quiet month for the Chiefs as far as Narawa's been in and out of that team. He had a great first sort of 4 or 5 weeks. At his best, absolutely. But you look at the Chiefs over the last month, they played either in wet conditions or he's been on the bench and they've had a few slip-ups.
Oh, look, I think, Mills, I think all of these players show the skill sets that we really like, that we love. But then you've got guys who have got better experience, who've got an all-round skill set that we know is tested at the highest level, or you've seen it a bigger body of work.
Yeah, and I agree. I like Narawa. I think he's got X factor. You know, he sort of ghosts into space. His ability, he can kick long. He's very good in the air as well. One thing that actually stands out, we have got a lot of talent coming through. It's just how we nurture them. And
someone missing as well, Jonah Nariki.
Yep.
Oh, Jonah,
and looked really, really sharp on the weekend. He's only played, I think, 3 or 4 games this season. When we know historically, you know, what he's capable of. It was great to see him out there. Just another player, once again, showing a particular set of skills, very similar to Sevu, to be honest, in terms of his impact. That good short kicking game. Really like his energy.
Can we talk about Caleb Tangitau? What are you seeing that you like about this kid? And maybe not as a starter, but could he actually be part of the All Black squad this year, do you think?
Well, prior to him getting injured, his work rate on counter, like he gets close to his fullback. So there's highlights from him right from round 1 of getting quick throw-ins because he's working, and then he's stepping a couple of guys and scoring tries. The Highlanders haven't always had it their own way this year, as we've seen. It's only his second win last night, but he is always featuring. You saw how many tries. He's a try a game at the moment. Some of his work, this one here, I think he's almost went the distance. He has been phenomenal, and he's a big man too, isn't he, Gotti?
It's nice to have gas like that. I mean, it's just the benefit. He is fast. Once again, though, it's those other little things, those subtleties at the highest level, you know, when the box kicks start coming your way, that you own that space in the air. You don't start looking around for someone else. I'm going to go up and contest. Same thing when you're chasing those kicks. You know, that's where Caleb Clark separated himself last year, is that he was so good in the air in terms of contesting position. So the kicks have got to be good, but those are areas for a guy that's only played 7 games, you've got a small body of work. Hard to then convince yourself to put an All Black jersey on them. You know, it's really, really challenging. So the challenge for New Zealand rugby, and it's something that Mark Robinson has already talked about, the financial work that they have to do to try and generate income. Part of that is keeping players. So if you think about what they've had to do in the last 7 years compared to the 7 years before that, we'll show you the number of games at home. And we know exactly how many they played in the first 7 years, 2012 to 2019, 44. In the next 7 years, and this is likely to be, there might be the odd 1 or 2 more, but it's about 25% less at just 33 at home. And that comes through pressure because your opportunities are elsewhere, Mills, ultimately, if you think about it. So here's what the future looks like. These are the test matches at home here in New Zealand this year. And then next year, those 4 test matches, part of the proposed Nations Cup that World Rugby have put in place. And then in 2027, it's a Rugby World Cup year. So there may be one added to that. It's a TBC as well. So there's not that many opportunities to generate income. And that's the challenge, is when you start talking about a big contract coming out of Japan, How do you compete with that when you've got so many players with so much talent who all are wanted by other players?
And the way that they're going to generate more income is by taking tests overseas, which has been big news during the week. So we sent a camera down to the match in Wellington to see what the fans really think.
All right, look, let's talk about a serious issue now. We've got a lot of All Blacks games going offshore in the future. We think that's the NZRFU wanting to make more money out of the game, but they're killing the game.
I reckon it's a rip-off, eh? All us boys, we love going and supporting the boys in black.
We're New Zealanders. We need to see our All Blacks here.
They're forgetting where the roots are.
They're killing it for the fans who steal 13 flags and make a suit out of them.
Money is a necessity of rugby, unfortunately, so there's got to be pluses and minuses.
To get the game growing again and make it stronger, then, man, I'm all for it.
Yeah, we feel quite stitched up, but, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day. You've got to get that money.
They've got to make more money. That's good for the game. But, yeah, for the fans that want to watch it, with falling attendances, do they want to watch it in a ground or do they want to watch it on the telly? As far as I'm concerned, as long as it brings good players to New Zealand to play rugby, we're just going to let it happen.
Don't worry about that money, NZRFU. Bring it here and the fans will come.
Oh, I tell you what would have cost a bit of money. I just can't unsee the double banger sausage. Has anyone had one of those at Sky Stadium in Wellington? You would have had a double banger, Jeff.
Oh, but I wouldn't be able to work after that. I'll be asleep up somewhere in the stand.
I'm definitely getting one next time.
Oh, please. We'll get that on camera. We'll get that on camera. A mix of views, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And people also are aggrieved by it, and they probably have every right to be. Do we need more money in the kitty or more tests here for fans?
It's a balancing act, it really is. And look, I know there was a lot of commentary. We had a bit on the show around the proposed Anzac home and away with Australia. Ultimately, the numbers didn't stack up commercially here. It was actually going to run at a loss doing it here in New Zealand, based on what you would have to provide for the game and then the revenue share. It's not like other places around the world, and that's playing it at Eden Park. So that's the problem, is when you start taking these things into account. But it's also, everyone wants to see their heroes up close, get the opportunity up close. And the fact that all of a sudden, when you're only getting 4 test matches a year, there's always somewhere that misses out. I will say this, though, credit to the players, and I've seen it a lot this year, and our top guys. They're out there on the field signing autographs consistently right to the very end. We saw it in Pukekohe with Damien McKenzie. He was out there for over an hour after the game. We're seeing fans on the field.
Yeah.
I think Super Rugby is allowing now our players to get up close and personal with the fans. And I think that's why I encourage people, if you aren't in a year that can get to a test match, that Super Rugby is going to get you up close and personal because the fans are doing it. But it's a concern, Mills, the fact that when you start getting to 4 test matches a year at home and that's it, it doesn't really open up many opportunities for families in particular to get close in an All Black environment.
Well, that's a balancing act, eh? I mean, one, we're talking about the fact we've got no money to keep players and guys are going overseas, but the other side of it too, you've still got to keep the fans happy. So, you know, you look at the likes of the European teams, you know, England and Wales, they have one stadium and that's all they play there.
80,000.
80,000 people. We could possibly do the same, Beaver.
Well, yeah, and when you look at that proposed next year, for example, Ireland, Italy and whatever strength French team you get, they might be games that aren't even at Eden Park, which would be our biggest revenue ground around the place. So it'll be interesting to see. Like we opened this talking about having more games at bigger stadiums, maybe overseas, to keep the Mark Tillers of the world in the country. Well, you look at that and you think, well, it's not going to come from those, is it?
Yeah, well, there's a reason you go to Chicago, right?
Yeah.
When you go to Soldier Field and you go to, 80,000 they're talking about, which I think is almost 80% sold already, and you know the yield on that's going to be so very, very high. But once again, it's to get the balance, because when we played, you know, and come back, and particularly when I played, we played club rugby, we played some club games, we played NPC, test matches, we were in and around those, and then Super Rugby came. And so a cross-section got to see your All Blacks playing everywhere, whereas now All Blacks play Super Rugby and they play for the All Blacks. It's only on a returning game from injury that you would see them in a NPC game, a Heartland game, for example. And that's sometimes where I think it's hard for the clubs who go, you know what, we're the lifeblood of the game, but we don't know where our All Blacks are from. You know, this is our All Black. Where's the jersey on the wall saying, you know, this is my club, this is where I came from?
Someone that comes with a massive price tag is Joseph Suaalii, who has been worth his weight in gold, it must be said. Our players of the round, B, you're sticking with Joseph.
I am sticking with Joseph Suaalii, and after his performance, he was so good against the Chiefs. I didn't think this game was going to produce the man of the round, but it has. He was so powerful. The thing I like about him is He's not overplaying his hand, Curse. Like, he is the superstar out there. You can tell he is. They all look to him for their moments of inspiration, but he is just doing his part. He is making that fullback spot his own. He had no right to get anywhere near the try line here, Curse. And the big thing about it is you look at his body language and what the New South Wales team at the moment, they feed off him. He is literally almost like a god out there, and his energy is helping them all lift at the moment.
And it's helping put eyes on the game as well. I mean, and what more sort of eyes do you actually want when a guy like that is playing the way he is? And in Australia, he's outstanding.
I think they're handling him really well. They got him into the rugby environment, they got an international environment. All of a sudden, he got high-level coaching, information, detail. He's gone back to fullback. They started him at centre, now he's gone back to fullback, and he's finding ways, and he's got time with the ball in his hands, so he can actually see space to run into. He's a big man who can go fast, and he's got time because all of a sudden, he is like Sonny Bill Williams in that regard. When you're at that sort of height, all of a sudden he can go over the top, he can go around you, he takes the hits. What about the shot that got the yellow card with the guy who got to put the shot on, come off worse, he's going to get rampling, right? You know, he just shook it off. Like, he's a professional who's going to get better and better. Is he going to be ready to play fullback against the Lions?
Come on. He's a megastar.
He could be on the wing. He could be on the wing, and Tom Wright could be at fullback. And Tom Wright could be at fullback. I look at it that way, and you
could be at centre.
It could be. You like him at centre? I'd like him in part of the back three for me.
They've got enough, the Wallabies. Like Callaway and the likes. They've got enough in the wing, I reckon. And
I like their midfield. Paisami's playing well. Ikitau.
15 years then.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be on something. He's wearing a jersey. He can swap jerseys at half time. I don't care what it is. But ultimately, he's going to be on the pitch.
Yeah.
Mills, your player of the round. You've gone to Dunedin this week.
Oh, I have. And basically a guy that's sort of been out with injury. This is a massive injury. It's Jacob Ratamaitavuki-Needkins. I love the way he's sort of come back from it. You know, broken neck, last year's NPC. Man, it's a hard thing to come back to that. And to play against also the Jirua, who are physical. He was good.
I remember talking to Sam Cane when he came back, right? He was nervous.
Yeah.
He would have been so nervous going into this game, knowing that you're going into... I think he played one club game, and you're going out against the Drua. Don't mind a tackle, the Drua. They don't mind putting the shots in. And I could tell for a start, he was a little bit tentative, and you would be. But you talked about it. I mean, this injury that he suffered was significant. I'm proud of where he's got to, Mills, to be able to get himself in this position to come back after an incident like this.
Yeah, and that's why I just think, man, it's a big thing to come back. I mean, look at that. And he played on in that NPC. And the contact that he sort of got into last night.
It's Taranaki hard, mate.
That's why.
It's Taranaki hard, that's what that is.
Just quickly on Highlanders and Jacob Needkins, have you seen enough? I know it was one game, but you said they're still alive,
he has to stay back there now.
Finn
Hurley's out for the season. I think a torn quad, so he's not going to be back, so he has to play in that position. Nice to have Sam Gilbert, who actually came on and finished the game really strongly. They made some huge changes, so it'll make a bit of a difference, I'm sure.
OK, where are you going this week? For your player of the round, Jack.
All right, so before I get to my player of the round, I just want to talk about the fact when you're a player and you're going through it, and the three of us on the table have been there, you know when you're not performing at your best. I mean, the video doesn't lie. The fact that you understand what you expect of yourselves at the highest level and potential, and then when you don't perform, you own it. And we saw Damien McKenzie own it. We saw Portia Woodman-Whitcliffe own it during the year. When you know you haven't put your best foot forward, you go and say, well, that was me. Well, that's what our All Black captain did this week. He owned the fact that we had something to say, and halfway through the week he said, yeah, maybe I'm not playing at my best. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to go out and play at my best. And this has nothing to do with us. This is just him reminding everyone that exactly what he's capable of as a player. And he was doing the things that he does really well. Justin Marshall talked about using him in particular ways. The Crusaders used him really nicely. But he showed exactly what he's capable of as a lock in this competition. He went out there and he made his point, and kudos to him. He just now needs to build on top of that, which I think he will.
So good to know he watches the breakdown on Sundays then.
Well, someone obviously said something, but ultimately, isn't that what you want from your All Black captain, Mills? Beaver?
But where has that been for the last few weeks?
Well, one thing it has confirmed to me is that he's not injured, and that's what my.
That's what you were looking for, right?
I see. Perhaps he's injured. He's not injured. So next week, he'll understand. He'll need to step up again, and it's great to see that. Great to see him respond the way he did.
And guess what? He's playing the Blues. And it's a perfect opportunity to back it up once again against a team that is the defending champion.
Are the Crusaders starting to get a little bit scary, Beef? This time of year?
Yes. Well,
are they starting to get a little bit?
It's getting close to winter.
Top of the table right now.
And all of a sudden, this Friday night, I know we're going to talk about it later, this Friday night is massive for both teams, I reckon, and it'll let us know a whole lot more.
Okay, well, we're kicking you three out of studio for the next 10 minutes because we are celebrating our Super Rugby Aupiki champions. The Blues women are in the house. They join us in studio next alongside our Sky Sport commentator, Taylor Johnson. There they are, trophy in tow.
In a stadium packed with sporting history, memories will again be created. North versus South, friends become rivals as the Blues and Matatu vie for the Aupiki title. It's dumped into the Eden Park turf. Now it's there for Joseph away. They come sweeping around. Duplessis is over. Porsche gets rid of one and it's going to explode through the gap. Demand state and support, and that is all the Blues need. Braxton Sorensen McGee, this 18-year-old wonder kid, might have just broken the final open. Wide again, Woodman Wycliffe's got it. Just need to get it out of there to become back-to-back Super Rugby Aupiki champions.
We have girls that are still working full-time jobs, so for them to come out and put effort like this, I have nothing but pride for this team and this club.
Oh, I'm still smiling. That was the most unbelievable final. The final that had it absolutely all. It had us on the edge of our seats right until the last moment, and we're going to celebrate all with Maia Roos, the captain of the Blues women, Krysten Cotrell, who's been in the driver's seat all season, Taylor Johnson, who's been on the call, on the microphone all year for Sky Sport, and Haneru here, the Dawn Maiden, back-to-back titles. How does this one feel?
It's been awesome. Yeah, we've worked really hard and we set our a goal to be the first to go back to back, and yeah, it's just awesome that we've achieved it.
History is made, Maia, and first of all, I just want to commend you both for turning up in Sky Studio today because that itself is a feat. But how do you feel after this one?
Just so happy, so proud. We've done so much this year in such a short amount of time to work towards this goal of being the first, and yeah, it's just so cool that it's been able to come into fruition.
It was one heck of a game. I mean, going into the final, you were one apiece, and then Matatu got 2 quick tries on you. They dominated possession. I mean, were you shell-shocked?
Yeah, a little bit. You know, we thought they looked a little bit shaken, and when they were doing their haka, and we were like, you know, okay, like we've got this.
Yeah.
And then they came out firing, and you know, we were like, okay, like it's game on. It is really game on, and yeah, we just had to take a deep breath and you know, just grind it out for a wee bit there because it was against us for the first kind of 20 minutes.
Yeah.
But once we got our hands on the ball and showed what we can do with it, we got our necks up.
I want to touch on some moments from this final. This young woman here, who debuted only a few months ago for the Blues. How much potential does that young woman have? Braxton Sorensen McGee, I'm talking about.
Oh, so much. She was my buddy this year, so I worked alongside her quite a bit. We catch up every week, and like the head on the child, like she's 18 and she's so smart, like she's so chill, and she can just do anything. She's fast, elusive, and she can tackle. Like she's not afraid. Yeah.
There is so much talent in your team, but there's also a lot of talent in the other teams as well. Has there been any surprise packages from you? Anyone that stood up that you kind of didn't really notice beforehand, but after Aupiki, you're like, actually, they might be pushing for a black jersey?
I think Faye from the Chiefs.
Yeah.
She's been outstanding as a prop. Her ball skills, her carries are crazy. She's very hard to stop, but yeah, she's impressed me a lot this season, and she's been one for me to watch, I think.
What did you think about the competition in 2025, and how do we make this competition bigger and better next year and in the years to come?
Yeah, like it was really impressive this year. I think it's got a little bit closer between all the teams.
Yeah.
Obviously a few blowouts, but each week you've got to play your best to get on top. We'd love it to be longer. We feel like we're only just starting to get into it and now it's finished.
Yeah.
You know, and we're getting combos, but there's still a lot of girls who have missed opportunities to play because it's so short and it's now a competition that we need to win or want to win. So you've got to put your best foot forward.
And we all noticed that, didn't we? How the competition just got better and better and the teams got closer and closer every week. What would you do? Would you add a couple of other teams, Maia, or would you add an extra round?
Oh, I think a bit of both. Maybe even like more training time together.
Yeah.
We only train 1 day a week, one full training day a week, and to pull out performances like we do is pretty amazing. So just imagine if we had the resources and the time for more, then it'd be even better.
I think we need to add in the Australian teams. It's a no-brainer, and I'm so glad that on Thursday night we are going to play the winners. You guys have actually already played them. You played them in the pre-season. For those that do not know, they took them on in the pre-season, and it was 36-all. So this is going to be interesting. It was a draw in the pre-season. I mean, have you been watching the Waratahs or any of the Super W?
To be honest, I haven't. I'm too busy trying to get our stuff, our detail.
Yeah.
You know, we don't have long, so we're always looking at our own homework before them. And our focus was this, winning the trophy. So
Considering then you've already played them in the pre-season, how do you think you'll go against them on Thursday? How will the two competitions, essentially the champions of both for the first time ever, which is fantastic, how will you compare, do you think?
I think it's going to be so exciting. It'll be a good game, quality game. We love versing our Tasman sisters, and so to be able to have the opportunity for girls who haven't played international rugby to play international rugby, but at a super level, will be really cool. I don't know if that made sense.
It doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense because you haven't had much sleep, as you mentioned beforehand. But what we were talking about off camera is I said, you know, what is so special about this team? We spoke about the sisterhood, but both of you mentioned the management team and how much they actually made a difference when you look at all the other teams. So what is so special about the management from coaches all the way to your managers?
I think just the dynamic that they've brought together, like they honestly could be brothers and sisters themselves. They like to give a bit of banter, but the work they put in behind the scenes has been massive. They're really approachable. We can have a laugh with them, we can joke around, but when it's like time to, you know, get down to business, we can do that with them.
And just tell us, confirm who your coaches are for us. Who is in that box? Who are the ones that are running waters and have the headsets on for you throughout the season?
We've got Willie Walker, Colin Spencer, Charmaine McMiniman, Census, Johnston.
AC, our manager, Hannah from Northland, she's come down to help us.
We got Court, we got Ash on our media.
Yeah, we got Doc.
Jules, we got the whole James.
Trainer.
We got Bobby.
Someone else I wanted to ask you about, and you've been leading this team superbly this year. You've also had some wonderful athletes outside of you, and the final Ruahei Demand and Portia Woodman-Whitcliffe were on another level. What impact has Portia had on this team this season?
Yeah, she's been good. Like, she's obviously still keen to learn, but she's got her world-class, I guess, dominance in what she does. She's fast, she's fit, she's powerful with the ball. And everyone looks up to her, everyone looks to her in those moments. I mean, she's probably had the most big moments in her career to share and kind of overcome. And yeah, she's played outstanding the whole season, and she's been moved around too from centre to wing, and adjusting for her, you know, it's different, but she's taken it and she's played awesome.
Portia has to go to the World Cup. Like, I know that she's keeping tight-lipped about it and she's not telling people whether she is or not, but for me, her last game can't be her getting knocked out in the final. We need to see her again in that World Cup jersey, and I know we want to, you know, leave space for the younger ones coming through, but she's still young.
Right.
What about her legacy? So her final game for the Black Ferns, if it was a World Cup final. Her final game for the Black Ferns Sevens was an Olympic final and championship medal.
Yeah.
And her final game in Super Rugby Aupiki was a title again. The woman can do no wrong.
No, absolutely.
She's the goat. She is the goat.
I want to ask you guys about Black Ferns. You've seen the talent across the pitch. Where do you think the toughest and most competitive position is going to be in the Black Ferns this year?
The
does that black jersey play on your mind when you are playing Super Rugby Aupiki? Because this is an extended trial. Super Rugby Aupiki is a trial because there's not a lot of tests heading into the Rugby World Cup. So how much you think about it? I know for you, you'd love a call-up back in, and you deservedly would, I think in my mind, be up for that. But how much of that plays on your mind, knowing that there's not a lot of time before the World Cup?
It is definitely part of our prep. We want to be in the best position to serve our country in the World Cup, and it starts with our regions. We have this thing in the Black Ferns called serving the Fern, and so we always train to serve the Fern, and this season we train to serve the Blues doing the Blues, but it all leads into that with it being such a big year this year, and so I think that's just something that we hold on to.
Just before we let you go, can you lift the lid on your celebrations? How have they been in the last 12, 18 hours?
Yeah, some are still going. A few shoulder taps, put to bed. Some have had quick naps and, back into it again. But no, it was an awesome night. We all stuck together and went out and, really celebrated because it's been a massive few months. And yeah, it's good to celebrate with all the girls and the management as well, and all our friends and family came out. So yeah,
well, a massive congratulations from all of us. Can't wait for Thursday as well, when the Super Rugby Aupiki champions take on the Super W champions.
Get your tickets, everyone.
Waiting for
Get your tickets. Be there. It's in Albany. If you are in Auckland, you have no excuse on a Thursday night. There is nothing else on. Come
and
on.
if not, 6:30 on Sky Sport. You can watch it for anyone else across the country. Thank you both for coming in. We appreciate you. Enjoy the next 24, 48 hours and all the best of luck for Thursday. Don't go anywhere. Plenty more still to come on the breakdown as well, where we remember the All Blacks Dr. John Mayhew next, who was part of so many iconic sporting moments in New Zealand, stitched up many of the greats as well. We'll tell a few tales next.
For a lot of people, and look, I was a friend of Doc's. He was my family doctor when I moved to Auckland. I was a doctor when I was in the All Blacks. I know the family well, coached his boys, his sons. Came as a huge shock over the weekend to find out, what had happened. And everything you've read and seen is the mark of the man. And it wasn't Doc the doctor. Doctor was just the guy. It was him. He was the person you could always trust and go to. You had his confidence. He always had the right thing to say, and if something needed to get done, he found a way to get that done. And then I look at how he looked after some of the players that I played with, particularly with Jonah and what Jonah was going through, and being able to help him get to where he wanted to go, to be the best he could be given what he was going through. It's just a huge, huge loss to the rugby community, and not just the rugby community, the sporting community. He essentially started being a sports doctor in New Zealand, in terms of, that being a profession, a direction to go. And, I can't thank him and his family and how much he'll be missed. It's going to be a really, really tough, couple of weeks, because when the fraternity gets together and celebrate what he achieved, you'll struggle to put it into words. You really will.
He was iconic, wasn't he? I mean, didn't spend as much time with Doc as you did, Goldie, but sort of coming in as a youngster, and those pictures showed it all, the generations that he sort of looked after. He was iconic, with the All Black jersey, because that was the guy that carried a lot of injured bodies off the field. But I loved him. As soon as I came in as a young first time All Black, he was like your uncle. The way he sort of sat down and spoke to you, and he was genuine. He didn't go. He didn't seem to go out of his way. He stitched me up a couple of times, or stitches, and
stitched everyone up.
Yeah, he did. And so, and a wonderful, wonderful human being.
And in the early days, he was not bad at training either. When they needed someone to put on some boots, an extra. He didn't mind mixing it up. He played a lot of club rugby, a couple of hundred games in Northcote. He knew exactly what he was doing. He was right in the thick of it. As the years got on, he got smarter with that though, and how much he put. I think he put a bit in though. He didn't mind. If you're going to get me in there, give me a mouth guard and we'll go at it. But I think you always need strong people behind you. And Sue, she just did. Everything. While he was away doing what he needed to do, she was doing everything that needed to be done with the family.
He was awesome because it was that iconic that even coming through the grades, under 19s, we had his brother Simon Mayhew, and he's a doctor as well.
Yep, he's been my doctor as well.
He wasn't known as Doc; he was known as the All Black doctor's brother.
Yeah,
and so because we all wanted to be All Blacks, but we all also wanted to be looked after by Doc Mayhew. And unfortunately, poor old Doc, or Simon Mayhew, sort of, wore that sort of that tag.
Yeah.
Well, the doctor had a very close relationship with all of his players, didn't he? But in particular, the late, great Jonah Lomu. It got us thinking, because this man used to score the most sensational long-range tries, Jeff.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, brilliant.
But the thing was, he didn't really need support. He just needed the ball and opportunity. And is that before fist pumps were a thing? He might have started it back then, but he was a special man. But we've had plenty of those, right?
Exactly, and it got us thinking about some of the great coast-to-coast tries across all of Super Rugby, starting, of course, Friday night, the Waratahs against the Chiefs.
Fix the defence. He brings in Swiley. Swiley off down the right. Infield. Callaway. Infield is Wilson. This is one of the greatest tries we have ever seen at the SFS. This one. They'll set up for Ambosi. And he got away from 1, 2, 4. Speedster alert. He gets the yellow boots pumping, gets it away to Ravovo, who says, let's go! Ravovo! Let the crowd tell the story. They love it.
And McKenzie dropping back. Colby made the kick chase and almost made the tackle on Lowe, but not quite. Running out of their 22, McKenzie, beautiful inside ball for Lowe. Well, this is magical from the Chiefs. The offload is good from Messon. Inside for Lowe once again. And Messon. And inside. That is just sensational from the Chiefs. Tony Pulu with the score.
It's Cullen. Bit of room here. He's through. What a bust here by Krysten Cotrell. Plenty of support. And what a dummy. Absolutely magnificent. Length of the field stuff. What a time.
Spencer. Goodness, he's not going to pass it, is he? He does. To Rokathoko. Joe Rokathoko. Up the middle. He's got Howlett with him. Oh, he didn't pass it, but he's found Collins in support. Oh, Spencer. Oh, this is amazing. Carlos Spencer twists the knife.
Oh, one of the absolute greats. And you had a part to play in that try, Milton.
I decided to hug the post all the way back in the end goal. I was like, oh, I'm going to cuddle and watch from here.
I don't know about you guys, but the favourites for me are the multiple pass ones. I mean, there's some great individual tries, but for me, when you're seeing the ball just popping and there's defenders chasing left, right and centre and they can't... That Waratahs try, something special. Wow. Something special.
That Chiefs one as well. You were a big part of that too.
Yeah, I was pulling whip for the next phase. But the boys did the work over there, so I was like, Tony Pulu, job done, bud. But if we had to go another ruck, I had to...
You had it covered.
You were covered.
Great anticipation, mate. Great anticipation.
OK, here is what to watch this weekend. It is Easter weekend, round 10 of Super Rugby. Jeff, what game have you got?
I'm thinking Crusaders Blues is going to have a playoff intensity about it. Massive, because if the Blues go down to Christchurch and win down there, they are well and truly back. Like, their season is starting to fly, and then they'll be looking at the whole year completely differently. Now, the Crusaders are starting to look like the Crusaders again. And we've got to remember, before the Blues versus the Chiefs became the rivalry, it was the Blues versus the Crusaders, and there's a lot of stuff that runs deep here. This will be huge. Can't wait to see. I think everyone will ramp this up.
As will Hamilton, Beef.
Hamilton on Saturday night, 7 o'clock, 6:40 for build-up. But Highlanders Chiefs, you could tell after the game, they wanted that one win. And now I think that there might be a bit more belief with Jamie Joseph in charge. They've come to Hamilton before, and there's a bit of a rivalry since Jamie's got back in charge. And, of course, the Chiefs lost on Friday night.
Yeah, will that be a brutal week for them?
He sounds really concerned.
I am a little, because they do have a way of coming to Hamilton and spoiling the party. They've done it on multiple occasions, so it's going to be a game. Hell of a game.
What about the game in Western Australia, Mills, to round out round 10?
The Hurricanes, they win, need 5 points, and they jump up into the 6, just above the Force. those Aussies are getting a little bit cocky, man. We need a couple other players, or a couple other teams in there. So, and the Hurricanes are desperate too.
Don't forget a couple of others. Drua up against the Waratahs and Moana Pacifica against the Brumbies Pukekohe Stadium as well. So that'll be absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for your time on the program. Thank you for joining us. And we'll be back to do it all again on Easter weekend. Enjoy the chocolate, but not too much.